Good morning, Gardenia! What's up, everybody? It's your boy CJ, the Internet Warlord, filling in for the one and only Adam Kokesh today. Man, what a show we're going to have for you today. As Adam is in the comments, he will be Comment Adam Kokesh Freedom. I guess that's how that's going to work today. And producing will be none other than Comment Jim Freedom. Adam is feeling a little under the weather today, so he's going to be, though, doing the comments for the first time. He's got a brand new toy. So for all of you who are like, does Adam see the comments? Well, today he's in charge of them. So get the comments in, get them going, and we will, hopefully get them on screen in a reasonable manner. But, either way, we have a great show in store for you today. We'll be taking your calls if you'd like to. If you're in the Producers Club, I'm sure our producer, excellent Comment Jim Freedom, will get that link into the description and all the videos where you are watching right now in the comments. And you can click in and we'll do some call-ins. I got to cover the news I think I'm going to have a hard time because I'm pretty sure I'm just going to stare at comments the whole time. So, but either way, today we are going to skip our regularly scheduled promos and talk about the one promo that we're going to be doing. And that is if you go to GoFundMe.com and you search in the search bar, a new smile for James Vaughn. That is the GoFundMe set up for our one and only Comment Jim Freedom. And as you can see, people have been donating, so thank you so much. Top donator today will win entry into our Producers Club, which is our $10 a month patron level exclusive private chat for the Adam versus the Man family. And as you can see, I was just about to read this, but now it's too small. Jim would like a full set of teeth again. I think that's a pretty normal thing for us to all want. Why doesn't he have all his teeth? 10 years ago, our friend James and his 8-year-old daughter were playing badminton with some friends. Simultaneously, the birdie landed on the ground and James bent over to pick it up. James' daughter swung her racket to try to hit it off the ground and accidentally hitting James directly in the front teeth. Immediately, James' 4 front teeth were cracked right at the gum line. James immediately went to the emergency dentist. He had to have them surgically removed. Insurance would not cover new teeth because that's a so-called cosmetic issue, but it's not considered to be a medical necessity. So if you guys could, please, again, find this on the GoFundMe, a new smile for James Vaughn, and you're going to get, access. I'm pretty sure if you just emailed Jim and said, hey, Jim, I donated, it just gets you in. I don't think that that's going to be a big issue. So, again, to everybody that has been supporting Jim on this, thank you so much, and we definitely appreciate that. So let's get how do I do this? Let's get producer Jim. Who's co-hosting? Is it going to be Jim or is it? I don't know how that works because normally it'd be the comment guy. So let's get Comment Adam Kokesh Freedom on. How you doing today, Adam? You're a little under the weather, so
I'm good. No, I'm good, CJ. My voice is just a little tore up, and it's kind of stupid. Like I could do the show, but what occurred to me this morning is like, what would I do if I really couldn't talk for whatever reason? And this occurred to me, hey, we just like switch roles this way, and we have a really fun show. So I set you up pretty well with the links and the cutting edge of Neanderthals is what we have for today's show. No, but I have all the Ronas. Like I went into town yesterday and I shook 3 hands and I ended up with 6 variants of the coronavirus. So, this is really important medical misinformation that you follow very precisely. If you go out, if you're within 100 feet of another person, make sure you watch your hands after looking at them. Make sure you're doubling up your masks. You don't want to end up like me with, a sextuplet case of the Rona. But no, I ended up throwing up in the middle of the night because of a little food poisoning. So my voice is just a little rough. That's all.
Well, I hope you feel better. Last time I hosted your show was in the beginning of our Adam vs. the Man adventure, and I bumbled through it and had technical difficulties. And this gives me the opportunity to redeem myself. So Adam will be in the comment section today. We hope that this will be one of the highest commented on videos that we've got, and we appreciate that. So Adam, hope you feel better. Enjoy the show, and you have the power, so use it wisely, sir. All right, so check. Oh yeah, and he's gonna learn he can take himself on and off the screen. This would be like some next level evolution of this show. So with that, let's check in with producer Jim Freedom this morning. Producer Jim, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. What's going on?
Well, good assumes the adjective of my day, Jim, but I'm going to assume that you meant that in salutations and greetings, so I appreciate it.
Good.
I hope you're having a good
if it's
morning
bad,
as well.
fuck you, change it to good. I'm forcing you to have a good morning through my pure intention.
So what do you got for us today, Jim?
I don't know. I'm gonna put a piece of like cardboard or something over the comments so that I don't read them, because it's kind of an addiction now, since I used to be the better. Yes, it's Jim Veteran. I say sort of. Yeah, I say sort of. CJ and Adam like to say we're all veterans here. I signed up for service and I did a short 2 years. I didn't go to any wars or anything. I was pre 9/11. I'm old, so
you wouldn't call yourself
I'm not a combat veteran.
Yes,
right?
But you're still a veteran nonetheless. I see Adam's having a ton of fun in the comments. So just like I said, you guys, if you want to call in, we'll take calls today. You know, Adam's watching. You know, the platform is your platform, especially if you're in the Producers Club. That link's already in there, so we would appreciate it. There is a public Telegram chat that you can go to. That is t.me/Adam versus the man. And that is your way to go. If you want to get public, if you want to come and, you know, just found the show and you don't know how to get a hold of us, that is the best way to get a hold of us and to, you know, just make sure that, you know, and as well as the show notes for all our shows as well. So that's, we are active in the Telegram 24/7. Is Adam finding new toys to play with? Is this what he's playing with comments still. Okay, so
what's funny is he's doing something I haven't really done. I've done it a few times, but I always go on my phone to the stream separately and I'll put my comment in and then I display my comment here. He's just going in and commenting and having it go to all streams. Yeah, clicking on one so you can put it. That's what.
Yeah, I have a feeling that. But you know what? Here's our opportunity to see how Adam wants comments done during a show, right? So, you know, give him the keys to the Ferrari and see how fast he'll drive it. So, but Jim, we got a lot of stories. We got a great block. We got great blocks that Adam has set up. Just some, you know, cutting edge of good news as we like to do it, except today it's Neanderthals. We got human optimization, tech innovation, exploration, understanding nature. These are the blocks for today. And I'm going to see just how many I can get through and still taking your calls in classic Adam versus the man fashion. So Jim will be looking for you guys backstage. They'll let me know if there's a caller. And I'm just going to trust Jim and Adam to, you know, do their jobs this morning while I bumble through the headlines with you all. So thanks for tuning in again, public channel, t.me/Adam versus the man. Let me get that off for Adam there. And with that being said, Jim, you got anything else for the day you want to, before Friday here?
Good luck. You're going to do great. I have every confidence in you. So let's knock it out of the park.
All right, let's start with our first story today, coming to us from Newsweek.com. Newsweek.com, near-death experiences can totally transform a person in seconds, says scientist. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am a complete believer in the fact that this form that we live in right now is not the final form that we'll take, and I believe that near-death experiences may be a glimpse into a world of possibilities that us mortals do not understand. So without getting too religious, I do believe that people do have near-death experiences, experience something outside of this physical form that is hard to explain. So let's see what they say here. People who come close to death often report remarkable experiences that have long been dismissed by the medical profession. Dr. Bruce Grayson, a specialist in psychiatry and neurobehavioral sciences at the University of Virginia and one of the world's leading experts on near-death experiences, has been studying these strange phenomena for more than 4 decades. Newsweek spoke to Dr. Grayson about his work and what people's reports of near-death experiences reveal about the nature of life, death, and consciousness. This interview has been edited for length and clarity. So I'm going to assume that this is an episode. This is an article where Adam would have given some long spiel about libertarianism and near-death experiences, and how maybe even joining the party within itself could be a near-death experience with government. So, if you have a near-death experience with government, that happens a lot. So maybe there is life after death, and these scientists are unlocking that. So let's just see what Dr. Grayson had to say. I study near-death experiences, which are profound experiences people have on the threshold of death, or when they are in fact pronounced dead. That includes things like leaving the physical body, going to some apparently other realms, having a life review, encountering other entities that they interpret as deceased loved ones or deities, feeling overwhelming peace and well-being, and eventually coming back to life, or being told to come back to life, and then being forever changed afterwards. Do we know how common these kinds of experiences are? It's difficult to know, because a lot of people are not willing to talk about these experiences, but research in the US, the UK, and various countries in Europe has generally suggested that they occur in between 10 to 20% of people whose hearts stop, which amounts to about 5% of the general population. So that to me is a really profound statement, that when you die, or when your heart stops, or when somebody would be pronouncing you dead, there is a 10 to 20% of people that have that experience, which eventually will be all of us, unless we unlock the technology to stop death. 10 to 20% of us will experience some form of experience like Dr. Grayson here has been saying. So that's a really interesting way to look at our fellow people, that you have more of a chance of having a near-death experience than voting libertarian in this world. That's quite the conundrum that to me, that we will experience this part of our lives that is coming to all of us. And what if you do get a life review? What if you do have something that tells you to go back? What if you do experience a deity? And what if all of these things are there for that reason, for you to have this experience outside of this physical form and this life that you've lived? So if it changes you for the better, if it changes you to be a more peaceful person, to accept the life you've been given, and to be a better person, I guess Jim's going godly on me today here, then that's awesome. Which leads me to the next article from Good News Network. If anyone needs to stay positive, just validate their feelings, study finds. Just validate somebody's feelings. Like, hey, I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling like I'm needing some help, is never a hard thing to say to somebody that you care about. It shouldn't be, at least. And so to validate that person's feelings, to say, hey, I go through life too. No problem. Let's talk about this. It can be an incredible way for you to vent and get that out and develop a relationship with somebody. So let's go to the article here. Telling a distressed friend or family member something as simple as, I understand why you feel that way, can go a long way towards helping loved ones feel better, new research suggests. An Ohio State University study, participants described the researchers a real-life incident that made them angry. When researchers didn't show support or understanding for the angry participants were describing, the storytellers showed declines in positive emotions. But when the researchers validated the participants what the participants were saying. Their positive emotions were protected and stayed the same. Similarly, study participants reported dips in their overall mood as they recalled the anger-provoking event, and only those who were validated reported a recovery in mood back to their starting point. There's no significant difference found in participants' negative emotions. As a result, that speaks to the value of focusing on protecting positivity, said Jennifer Chavin, senior author of the study and a professor of psychology at Ohio State University. So what we've got here is, again, just being that person that can help somebody you care about. By, you don't have to go and say, okay, tell me all the details, but, letting somebody vent to you and validating that they are, in fact, a person and have emotions and that they are real, and you can, make somebody feel a way that gives them that optimism that this is normal. So, and it's like my uncle would say, this too shall pass, is a very real term. So helping somebody in that aspect is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. So let's see here. Let's go to the next one. Let's see here. Pope, okay, from apnews.com. Pope urges Iraq to embrace its Christians on historic visit. So as veterans of the Iraq War, I'm sure Adam and I can agree that it's a pretty, I mean, correct me where I'm wrong, but they're not really going to church on Sunday and worshiping your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. They are mainly practicing, Muslims in Iraq. And to be honest, Christian religions out there has always been in this embroiled kind of, I don't want to say necessarily a religious war, but it does fuel a lot of what we see. So when somebody like the Pope comes to Iraq, it's a major historic event, obviously, because that's, it's the Pope. He's the number one communicator with God on this planet for an entire religion. So for him to go to Iraq, for him to speak out like this, to say, hey, let's embrace other religions, I do think it is a positive step forward. While I don't practice either the Pope's religion nor the majority religion in Iraq, I still find that when religious leaders can come together and speak in a peaceful manner and promote that's obviously an incredible thing to do. So Baghdad, Pope Francis urges Iraqis on Friday to treat their Christian brothers as a precious resource to protect, not an obstacle to eliminate, as he opened the first ever papal visit to Iraq with a plea for tolerance and fraternity among Christians and Muslims. Francis brushed aside the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, so it's I can hear my inner Adam saying, okay, so it's good for the Pope, but it's not good for the gander. Okay, got it. Okay. So after the Pope brushes aside coronavirus pandemic and security concerns to resume his globe-trotting papacy after a year-long hiatus spent under COVID-19 lockdowns in Vatican City, his primary aim over the weekend is to encourage Iraqis' dwindling number of Christians who were violently prosecuted by the Islamic State group and still facing discrimination by the Shiite majority to stay and help rebuild the country devastated by war and strife. And, being there myself for, 9 months, it's, we saw all different types of things. I mean, my time in Iraq was significantly different from Adam's, but one thing that was always a prevalent background, at least for me, was the fact that you realize that you're in a country where the majority of people within 100 miles of you are not the same religion of you. And if they do have religious concerns where they want to go out and think you're an infidel and they want to be an extremist, they will. But, one of the things, and this is a sidebar, so I guess this will be my first official sidebar on as the host today, but one of the things that really gets to me is that in Iraq, you have a population of people that have been under insurgency and have been, occupied by this country that is foreign to them, is foreign to their belief system, is foreign. It's a foreign government to even their own governing. And when we go in there, it's kind of like, I imagine it if the United States had a foreign country invading today, I think it would, as much as Republicans and love their guns, well, Republicans love their guns and Democrats now love police. To me, it would be the libertarians that would be out there in the streets, pulling out their stockpiles of weapons and munitions to fight an invading force militia style. And so it's kind of an odd thing for me to go, well, what if the ones that were shooting at, platoons out there in Iraq and Afghanistan and putting in IEDs, what if those were the libertarians of Iraq? Like, what if all of a sudden the Libertarian Party of Iraq was formed and they were like, yeah, we've been blowing up U.S. War vehicles for 20 years now. We want them off our land. I'd start to have to question myself and go, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. If I had a foreign government that's just driving down my road, I probably put a bomb in there too to make sure that if they come down my road, I hear a big enough boom to know they're coming. So to me, that's just an obvious mind fuckery. Sorry, YouTube. For me, that has always been in the back of my mind, especially when I started going into the libertarian message to say, well, what if those were just the libertarians of Iraq? The news will say they're religious extremists, but as I've learned, no, I think they might just like that word. What's that word? Anybody know that word I'm looking for on the tip of my tongue? They just want freedom. Oh yeah, it's freedom, and they see this occupying force as a roadblock to their freedom. So the fact that the Pope would get there and spread that unity, I don't care. I mean, there's plenty of things he could have done outside of COVID lockdowns and just disregarding them. But, hey, I'm not the Pope. And, I would tell you the Pope shit stinks just like every one of us. And he too will die someday. So, at least he believes he knows where he's going. So next article, please, Jim. We got Thomson Reuters Foundation. Japan supercomputer shows doubling masks offer little help preventing viral spread. So this is some COVID in our human optimization block. So obviously Adam's sneaking in the Rona here today on us, but that's okay. Tokyo, Japanese supercomputer simulations show that wearing 2 masks gave limited benefit in blocking viral spread compared with one properly fitted mask. Findings in part contradict recent recommendations from the U.S. Center of Disease Control and Prevention, that lovely CDC, that 2 masks were better than one at reducing a person's exposure to the coronavirus. Researchers used the fungaku. Oh, geez. I think Adam just put a bunch of articles in with words that I know I can't say. Supercomputer to model the flow of virus particles from people wearing different types and combinations of masks, according to the study released Thursday by research giant Riken and Kobe University. I'm terrible with names. Using a single surgical type mask made of non-woven material, had 85% effectiveness in blocking particles when worn tightly around the nose and face. Adding a polyurethane mask on top boosted the effectiveness to just 89%. So to all you double mask wearers out there, you got yourself a 4% chance less of getting COVID. Just if you can even quantify what that actually is, you got just 4% chance of not getting COVID. It's lovely. All right, the next story comes to us from PBS.org. Employment rose among those in free money experiment study shows. Okay, so this is again your backdoor to UBI, as Adam has so graciously called it. You know, if the collapsitarian and all of us would love to see them just tank the dollar within a short period of time. But let's see what this study shows. After getting $500 per month for 2 years without rules on how to spend it, 125 people in California paid off debt, got full-time jobs, and had statistically significant improvements in emotional health, according to study released Wednesday. The program was the nation's highest profile experiment in decades of universal basic income, an idea that was revealed as a major part of Andrew Yang's 2020 campaign. The idea to bring people out of poverty with a guaranteed monthly income. Supporters say it gives people needed financial security to find good jobs and avoid debt. But critics have argued free money would eliminate the incentive to work, creating a society dependent on the state. The Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration sought to test those claims, run by a nonprofit founded by former Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs. The program included people who lived in census tracts at or below the city's median household income of just a near whopping $46,033. So again, we have a backdoor to UBI to say, hey, we're going to do little experiments into what getting free money actually looks like. And, you know, I'll tell you, I'm not necessarily against a monetary system that's not a centralized government controlled system, because what inevitably is going to happen, for example, just look at military disabled veterans here in the United States. If you give them a 70% disability, 80, 90, 130, whatever it is, whatever the rating is, eventually their monthly budgets become dependent on that income. So especially if somebody is at that 100% disability rating, where you have your whole monthly income is what you get from the government. So now, again, I would say, they say you earned it. I would say that was part of the contract negotiation when you signed up, that, you know, you would have access to the health care to make you whole after they've dragged you through their system for years. But I'm not necessarily against a decentralized currency that's backed with something other than fiat that could support a community if that community was voluntarily using that currency and there was some form of understanding in that community of what that currency is based off of. And again, once you make people dependent, though, that is a issue, because the government could just shut your bank account off. And how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to pay your mortgage? How are you going to pay your auto title loan? How are you going to pay for your groceries, your light bills, your internet connections, all these things? And so to me, universal basic income is essentially something that will be, whether we like it or not, a thing in this country. So if you are a collapsitarian, you might as well just enjoy the ride down, as every dollar in your pocket is worth significantly less than the one you spent before. So again, Adam's putting this StreamYard link out. If you guys want to call in, there is a link out there if you're in the Producers Club and want to join. We do have one more story here in our human optimization block, so let's go ahead and knock this one out. It looks like we're going to painstaking study of Littlefoot. Fossil sheds light on human origins. So, Littlefoot fossil. Have you guys ever seen The Land Before Time? That's where that comes from. Littlefoot, little brontosaurus. And remember when Littlefoot's mommy died? Oh, it was terrible. I cried. I did. I really did cry. I think that's the last time I cried. Anyways, sophisticated scanning technology is revealing intriguing secrets about Littlefoot, the remarkable fossil of an early human forerunner. Oh, they're talking about a person in this, not a brontosaurus that inhabited South Africa 3.67 million years ago. For all you young earthers, tune out now, because You're not listening to this. This is all propaganda. Nothing we're saying here is to be taken serious. Scientists said on Tuesday they examined key parts of the nearly complete and well-pressed preserved fossil at Britain's National Synchrotron facility. Diamond light source. The scanning focused upon Littlefoot's cranial vault, the upper part of her brain case, and her lower jaw or mandible. Okay, so we've got this as a woman, okay, from 3.67 million years ago. Now we're questioning the origins of the human species. Like, how long have humans actually been on this planet? Do you know? Do I actually know? Were you there 3.67 million years ago when Littlefoot imprinted this? No, you weren't. And again, dinosaurs aren't real, birds aren't real. It's all just propaganda for the oil industries. But as far as human optimization goes, I think the big takeaway in this is that, you know, you don't know what happens after you die, but we're still studying it. You know, that there's a validity to helping people by validating their emotional experiences in life. And the Pope is just violating all the rules of COVID. So I'm sure he's going to be getting the scrutiny from the leftist mainstream media. What else we got? Oh, UBI is going to be on its way, and we have a woman who made a print from 2.67. I don't know where Adam was going to go with any of this for human optimization. So maybe if we don't have a caller, maybe we can have him take a brief moment for his recap of human optimization, if he's feeling up to it, of course. Let's see. Jim, how about you? What do you got? What do you got to think of that? I mean, is there is there anything that you took away from that human? I mean, what my question is out of all these segments is where do you think Adam was going to go with all of this?
Well, who knows? You know, I don't know if he's in charge of pulling himself up or not. I guess you have to ask him. I put him down before, so I don't know if he knows. You know, you can pull yourself up when you're ready, Adam, back there.
He's got the power. He knows how to do it.
He's probably going to say something similar. I think he liked what you were saying about the Libertarian Party of Iraq. I think he said, because he said that's what Iraq needs is a Libertarian Party.
Yeah, so, you know, that's kind of my thought, though. That was the big thing that really messed with me, Jim, is that I kept thinking, man, what if the guy that blew me up in a 7-ton was the Libertarian, you know, county chapter leader for his local party? Like, he's just like, you know, screw these invading, occupying forces driving through my land every day, disrupting my cattle and my flow and how I you know, interact in my community, all these long lines, the fact that they can come onto my property and detain me without any rights. So no, I'm going to Gitmo. Like, yeah, I'd probably start blowing up buildings, blowing up vehicles too, and I'd start making pop shots too. So, you know, that's the one thing that really messed with me was that aspect of that. So, I do see we have a caller backstage. Is Steven planning on coming on?
Well, I see he's back there. I don't know. His video's not up, so
yeah,
I think he's just watching. I don't know.
We could take Steven on for a minute. What would you do if the Chinese invaded where you live? I'd show him my TikToks, Adam, and say, listen, I'm part of you. I'm team communism. Don't kill me. And then I would run away and dig holes in the ground and put homemade explosives in, you know, and
spray paint Wolverine.
I would use TikTok to say, I'm just like you, and I'm already dead before I even get my phone out. I already know. So yeah, that's the question. That is the question that Adam's posted here. That in my mind, if Canada invaded, you know, and we're coming down and through South Dakota to to start war with Mexico and they needed to invade through the U.S. first, I'd probably start doing dinking pop shots at them as they're crossing bridges, as they're, going into vulnerable spaces. So yeah, to me, it's like, obviously these Iraqis that see an invading military occupation, they're like, no. Last armies that have been here have been decades long. And they fight like hell to keep them out.
The powers that be know this, and they know that it would never work. Just like so many years ago, Adam brings up the general who's famous for quoting that they wouldn't invade America because there'd be a gun behind every blade of grass, making reference to the fact that we're the most armed civilians population on the planet. So the powers that be have found a way to occupy the country with their own forces. America is invading America right now,
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I got into this
just 60 more days.
Real quick before we get into our next block and we take Steven here. I do want to say that I had this interesting interaction with a veteran transgendered woman who was prior service Navy, who, again, it was on TikTok, so take it for what it's worth, folks. But to me, the big takeaway is that they, essentially said that they were defending freedom, and that my stance on military service is that you didn't actually defend freedom. You defended a unconstitutional government violating human rights, all across this globe, and not just in our own country, but all over the globe. We're a foreign, as it was said on yesterday's show, foreign terrorist organization outside the country. We're a domestic terrorist organization inside the country. And there's still a lot of people, Jim, that don't understand that essentially, this military is an occupying unconstitutional force, and the ones that serve just regurgitate that narrative that they're told to, that they're beat into them. So it's really been interesting for me to go from being that statist, I defended your freedoms in Iraq, god damn it, to no, I didn't defend your freedoms. I defended oil and opium, and in fact, one of the big tells to me, Jim, is always when people have, they say they have their rights violated, and it's not until you have your rights violated that you realize that this isn't about the government or the military protecting my freedom. It's a human trafficking chattel farm, and the military is their, deterrent from the world from stepping out of line, and the police are the deterrent from the slaves stepping out of line, as I like to call them. So, but yeah, we do have Steven. Jim, you got anything else? Any hot burning comments from comment Adam Kokesh Freedom this morning?
Hey, I'm not the comment guy, so you're asking.
That's why I asked. No, I asked.
You're the guy. You're the host, Adam, so you're supposed to say, "Let's get comment Adam up here."
Let's get comment Adam up here if he's got any burning comments. If not, I mean, he can put them on the screen. He's got 420 at Rock. Yeah. I know he has. That's all he's been doing. I can't keep up with him. When was the last war declaration signed by Congress? Were we born? I don't know if I was born. Was the first invasion a declared war in the 90s with the first Bush?
Desert Storm?
Desert Storm?
Know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we've had a declared war in my lifetime, but we've been to many of them without that declaration from Congress that's so desperately needed for a war to be constitutional. Anyways, but yeah, so Jim, if there's no other hot burning comments, when was
asking me about comments?
No, you're the producer. If we don't have any more comments, let's go ahead and get Stephen McClure up from Homefront Battle Buddies. That's where Jim, if you're producing for me, I have the keys to this Ferrari. I don't even know how to use all the buttons yet. So hold on there, playa. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, joining us today from Homefront Battle Buddies, the one and only Stephen McClure, Navy veteran. Am I right?
Yeah.
Bronze Star recipient. Am I correct?
I guess. Yeah.
They pinned a medal on your chest and said, "Atta boy," huh?
So I've funny story about that. I've got 3.
Holy shit, you're a goddamn war hero.
No, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna explain it. You don't know what you're talking about. I love you. I received 1 for saving a buddy's life. Saving a buddy's life. Hey, dude, if you're in a place where, like, people don't want you there, they're going to shoot. Be prepared for them to shoot. And when they start shooting, don't sit down. It's a bad idea.
Absolutely.
One, and that was a super sketchy situation. The other one that I have an issue with, and I have the biggest issue with this one, is there was an officer who was crying. So I walked up to him and I said, "Come on, bitch," and we went. And I was captain's masted for calling him a bitch.
Oh.
Because that's exactly what I said. I said, "Come on, bitch, let's go." And I grabbed him and we walked off. And because he was an officer and we walked 100 feet and I put him behind a tire, I received a Bronze Star for that.
Yeah, but you know what? Though that's the thing, though, and this is where I've always said this. I have a Purple Heart, and the only reason why I have a Purple Heart is because an officer wrote something that says I warrant that.
Yeah.
And so an officer wrote something that says you warrant this medal, and as a result, but no matter how big or small that action may be, the officer believes you were warranted that. So, I mean, that is the definition of earning it.
So, back up. I was in Afghanistan for the second time, and there was a kid who was he was kind of in our crosshairs. The bad dudes are here, we're here, and little dude's right here. And I was like, I don't want to fucking kill a kid today. I don't want to see a kid get killed. So I ran over there and I grabbed him, and in the process, I didn't get shot, but my plates took a hit. So I guess I got shot. Depending on how you want to look at that.
Yeah, you got shot. Yes, absolutely. You got shot.
I don't have like a hole. So it's just like I have a really bad bruise for like 2 weeks. And
right.
So the one about the reason that this all pisses me off, and we're going to go here for a minute, is it took me 2 years to receive a Bronze Star for that action. It took me 3 days to receive a Bronze Star and an Article 15 for grabbing an officer and moving his ass.
Sorry there, I muted myself out of habit, I guess. Adam weighs in here saying, bullshit. Officers wrote each other so many unearned citations from my deployment, including Bronze Stars. I could personally prove have lies in citations. And, I'm not even disagreeing with Adam that, as a turret gunner in Iraq and a Buffalo driver in Afghanistan, I honestly, I can relate to what he's saying, because you would see the dog and pony shows come out, where us, corporals and E4s, E3s, E2s, we were the ones that were the grunts doing all that physical manual donkey labor. And they would just come in from their AC, controlled, chow halls, hop in with us for a day. A vehicle would maybe take, a hit with like 3 vehicles up, and now all of a sudden they've got all the awards. And you go, well, that's kind of shitty. I mean, I got blown up. I got a Purple Heart for it. I was knocked unconscious in the turret. And, when I went through that experience, it took until I earned it while I was a PFC, and I didn't actually get it pinned on me until I was a corporal. And when they were reading my citation, they had to say then PFC, then Private First Class Abernathy, and everyone was like, it took that long? You were a Lance Corporal and a Corporal before they pinned us on? And it's like, yeah, that's how long that they can take for some of these. But, the thing being, though, is, again, I agree with Adam that there were officers out there that were, certainly taking advantage of the fact that they could write their own war, history, medals, etc. But I mean, what rank were you when you went over to the playground, as they call it?
So I did 4 miniature deployments. So I was a 3rd class once, a 2nd class twice, and a 1st class once. I made rank quick. I would probably be like a chief right now, which is pretty boss, except I'd have to send dudes into war, which is not
when did you receive which deployment did you receive your first Bronze Star?
My first two were received on the second deployment.
Okay.
Oh, no,
and that was
my first one received on the second deployment, and then the third one received on my third deployment. And that third one, I wear that one. I don't wear the other two because I'm conflicted about it. Well, I'm conflicted about the one with my friend. I'm not conflicted about the one with an officer who's like, dumb bitch, stand the fuck up and move. It's not too fucking complicated. I understand it's scary, but you're the one that led us here. You're the leader. You should know there were bad dudes in that fucking building. Do you not have information specialists working for you? Do you not have a robust security network and information supply chain? Shut the fuck up.
No. In all fairness, let's take a step back here and let me try to play devil's advocate, because I think that again that officer is just as much a victim of this corrupt militarist government that has sent us into an occupying unconstitutional war. Maybe he caved under pressure. Maybe he was, maybe some of his training that he had was faulty that day and he didn't operate the way he was supposed to. And it took you coming in to, hey, wake up, guy. Our lives are on the line here to really, for him to realize where he's at. So, I mean, okay, so you went to Iraq or just Afghanistan? I missed that.
I was in A school when they were pulling dudes out. No, I'm sorry. I was in A school when they announced they were going to pull guys out.
When did you go to Afghanistan?
My first deployment was 12.
Okay, 2012?
Yeah.
Okay, so your first deployment, I was already 2 years out. So this is what must be like for Adam to talk to like other generations of vets. Like, so you were there when it was. When did you go to which province did you go to? Did you?
Melbourne.
Okay, so were you at Leatherneck then, or?
So we flew into Leatherneck, and then we were a reactionary force. We were there to respond to car bombings and aircraft going down. And so my technical title was Damage Controlman First Class Air Warfare Fleet Marine Force Expeditionary Force. So what that entails is I'm supposed to be there for helicopters and airplanes crash landing. That doesn't happen a lot, so you kind of get loaned out everywhere. So car bombings, we went in. VBIBs, we went in. IEDs hitting Humvees, and
you're in the Navy.
Yeah.
So that's a long ways away from any water, don't you think?
So my recruiter was a yeoman, which is a paper pusher. But he was a paper pusher. Check this out. He was a paper pusher for SEAL Team 6. And then he becomes a fucking recruiter, and he was lying to people. It was like, I went on missions, right? Missions. Remember, SEAL Team 6. And he had that SEAL Team 6 rocker on his arm, where he had the ability to wear it at times. And it just kind of, I kind of bought it, and I kind of believed it. And then I showed up in Afghanistan for the second time, and I see his bitch ass walking around. I'm just like, you fucking lied to me. You said I was going to be on an aircraft carrier in Australia, bitch. And he's like, you're the one that signed the papers.
Yeah, right. So, I'm going to tell you how old I am as far as militaristic terms go. I was at Camp Leatherneck before it was Camp Leatherneck. It was still Camp Bastion, a British occupying camp. And they were just putting in the very first Camp Leatherneck, infrastructure in place when I was there. So if that tells you how separated we are. But did you see what I saw? This is my question, I guess, about Afghanistan. Did you see what I saw? And I'm not crazy to say that we were there protecting opium and poppy fields, that we were there solely to patrol, to keep that industry within a check that could be controlled by the United States government.
I think that we were working on behalf of dudes that were making money off of the industry, right? So I'm not going to say just opium, but definitely opium was a key factor. I also think that, and I can't believe I'm about to do this on air, you're a Marine, and you don't eat a lot of crowns, but I think you've probably eaten a few. Adam probably's eaten a few. But then there's a really, really intellectual Marine, Smedley Butler. wrote a book called War is a Racket. And if you haven't read that book, you need to. Don't give the Marine Corps too much credit because it was just one Marine. I'm going to have to move this real quick so I don't kill the laptop. But he explained that the only reason that we fight wars is to make money. And that's fine and dandy until you realize that people are dying in the process. So people are dying so you can make money.
Right, but that's a branding issue, though. You just got to say that they died for freedom, not necessarily say that they died for your cartel and your racketeering scam. You just brand it as, oh, they were fighting for your freedom. You know, that's how they get around that, though. At least that's what makes the masses go back to sleep at night and say, the military's defending my freedom while our buddies, our brothers and sisters are getting killed over in combat zones that they really shouldn't be in.
You make about as much sense as Epstein killing himself.
Well, he didn't kill himself, so I'm hoping this is a compliment buried in there and an Epstein reference.
That was a great joke. That was a great joke.
Well, I'm going to say that landed, but I mean, it was just it hit me out of left field. So, hey, real quick though, before I get into my next block here, I want to give you the opportunity to finish up anything you got here. And then we got to talk about Homefront Battle Buddies for a minute.
I came on to kind of answer Adam's question. What would you do if they invaded? And I think that the War is a Racket ties into it. You just make it really expensive for them to be here. I don't know how much a striker cost, but I assume a few $1 million. And the Afghanis were fucking strikers up with like $200 worth of just random shit. It was like, I'm going to go pull some like here in America, you steal copper wire to like feed your addiction. Overseas, they steal copper wire and they source copper wire to make fucking bombs with. And for a couple $100 and like a bullshit mortar and some wire and a battery, they can fuck like a $10 million vehicle up. They can throw Humvees across the fucking landscape. So they figured this out. The only issue is America hasn't figured it out. And what kind of drove me to become an anti-war protester is the generals, like the Afghan papers came out, and it comes out that the generals knew that this was a lost cause. And it's like, what did you have to gain besides money?
Well, no, the generals and all the shiny brass on their collar are the ones that take those high positioned, private contracting jobs from those that are in the cottage industry of the military industrial complex. That's been a known fact forever, especially like in the engineer field. If you're an engineer, you can land a $250,000+ job going working for a company after you get out. And there's a lot of people that sell out and do that. So, I mean, because it's what they know, it's all they know. And I can see, but that again, that's not your average PFC, your average seaman or soldier or airman. That's your like top brass, the ones that are, the ones that get to write those citations that make you and others into the war heroes they say you are. So, Stephen, last before we go here, I want to let you give an opportunity to talk about Homefront Battle Buddies. I know Adam would be remiss if I didn't let you at least speak to where you're at with that. So
Adam and I are probably doing a block sometime next week, so I don't want to go too much into it. But I do want to thank the viewers here. The viewers in the last, I'm going to say 2 days, have donated upwards of $1,000. I think overall from guys that watch this show, we've raised about $1,500. So I want to thank you guys. We are using your money wisely. Things are about to come into play. Things are about to take form. And somebody just asked on the private chat on here, said, is there a website for that yet? The website should be up Monday. An amazing part of Homefront is we have so much volunteer work. So we have a IT person that's going to set a website up this weekend, and we're going to slowly build it out. If we want to build it out faster, and you want to see things come in, here's what you do. You email me at steven@freedomline.com, and you go ahead and let me know what you want, and you send me some cash to pay for it. And I will make that shit happen. I will call them and say, hey, here's $100, get it done. Hey, you're muted.
That's a producer habit. That's after doing this show for so long. I just mute myself out of common courtesy, but I guess I should just leave the mute button alone. But Steven, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for being a caller. I have a feeling you and I could probably just talk all day, and this show would be 8 hours long.
Can I address that last comment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Which one? Adam will get it up for you there.
So part of the reason that we're doing Homefront is because the government lets our veterans on the streets live on the streets and commit suicide. Well, here's a fucking newsflash, fellow veterans. We were brothers in arms. For me, 5 years ago. For you, I guess, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. For Adam, like 1,000 years ago. I don't know.
Oh, no.
But damn it, dude, if we were brothers in arms overseas, we're brothers in arms over here. And it is not okay to let each other die. It's not okay to let each other live on the streets. That's what Homefront is. Homefront is helping each other stand up again. I had some help doing it. There's other people that are going to need help doing it. And we need to get this shit done. Because you're right. The government lets vets live on the streets and commit suicide. ... I won't let it happen.
Yeah, ... not under my watch.
I appreciate it.
Again, Steven at the Freedom Line, everybody. Check him out. Homefront Battle Buddies. Help support where you can. And we'll see you next time.
See you, man.
Oh, whoop, there we go. Hold on. I forgot. I'm not the producer. I forgot. All right. The 1 year anniversary, Adam says, of the 2 weeks to flatten the curve is just days away, March 16th. What are you doing to celebrate this major milestone of statism? Oh, man. Me personally, laughing all the way to the stores. Here in Meth Dakota, as I call it, I have rarely, if ever, participated in wearing a mask here in South Dakota. I think I did it one time to get into Walmart past the door greeter and then just took it right off. But other than that, I don't proactively wear a mask. I've canceled doctor's appointments because I just believe it's just ridiculous that we have to be forced to wear these things that have been proven beyond belief to not stop this virus that shall not be named. So, yeah, that's what I'll be doing, is just laughing all the way through it. And yes, Moose Girl, it is Meth Dakota, the state formerly known as South Dakota until the Queen of Meth herself, Governor Kristi Noem, declared by proclamation that we're all on meth. And since then, the world's never been the same. Okay, tech innovation. I'm a tech guy. I like tech. Tech is great. If you want to be a caller after I get done with tech innovation, if you want to get yourself backstage, you can go ahead and let producer Jim Freedom know that you're backstage and want to call in, and we'll get you on today's broadcast. Again, Adam is watching your comments, and he's firing them off at the cyclic rate, so keep them going. All right, so let's see here. From goodnewsnetwork.org, this city created the largest free food forest in the country where anyone can pick fruits and veggies. Oh, yeah. Were you hungry? Do you want to take a trip? Well, there is a 7-acre farm in Atlanta where residents can walk into a forest, take a deep breath, and begin pulling crops right off the land for dinner. A one-time pecan farm. The food forest at Browns Mill Project contains 2,500 edible and medicinal plants available to anyone in need. I'm going to wonder if they've got some, special green herbs in that. Okay. It's one of a growing number of free food forests cropping up in cities around the country as citizens and organizations, both public and private, attempt to grapple with problems of hunger and food deserts. In Atlanta, this problem is acute, with the USDA's Food Access Research Atlas estimating at least 1 in every 4 Atlantans, or around 125,000 people, live in areas defined as food deserts based on their geographical distance from grocery stores. Having created the nation's largest free food forest, the Conservation Fund with the assistance of the city of Atlanta and the U.S. Forest Service, is ensuring this former pecan farm continues its tradition of feeding the community. Again, none of this, I don't know if this is good news, Adam. Honestly, this is the government ensuring that this farm helps feed 125,000 people. Again, this kind of goes back to that UBI conversation. You make people dependent on a system, and then, you know, government is providing assistance. I just don't buy this as being good news in a tech block. But the idea of a private industry being able to grow its own food in a forest, absolutely is going to be vital, especially if you are a Clapsitarian and want to make sure that your food is not a dependent on government for survival type situation. So good news, bad news, we'll call it a gray area. Next from the Wired, or Wired.com, Facebook's new AI teaches itself to see with less human help. Most image recognition algorithms require lots of labeled pictures. This new approach eliminates the need for most of the labeling. I already hate Facebook, even though we broadcast as a backup channel here for this show. Facebook's done censored me so many times. I don't have enough fingers and toes to count it. But the fact that they have this artificial intelligence, to me, is going to, and it's going to only continue to get smarter and smarter and smarter. I often said I didn't get taken down from Facebook because I offended a Karen or a Chad. I got taken off of Facebook because the AI algorithm recognizes audio and language that is controversial to, you know, the Facebook community guidelines. And so when you say certain words, you trigger certain actions, and eventually you're deplatformed. So that's just how it's going to be. And this block, as I believe, is going to make this easier for them to censor alternative voices. So again, most artificial intelligence is still built on a foundation of human toil. Peer inside an AI algorithm, and you'll find something constructed using data that was curated and labeled by an army of human workers. Now, Facebook has shown how some AI algorithms can learn to do useful work with far less human help. The company built an algorithm that learned to recognize objects in images with little help from labels. The Facebook algorithm, called SEER for self-supervised, fed on more than 1 billion images scrapped from Instagram, deciding for itself which objects look alike. Images with whiskers, fur, and pointy ears, for example, were collected into one pile. Then the algorithm was given a small number of labeled images, including some labeled cats. It was then able to recognize images as well as an algorithm trained using thousands of labeled examples of each object. As Olga Rosakowski, an assistant professor at Princeton University who specializes in AI and computer vision, says, quote, "The results are impressive. Getting self-supervised learning to work is very challenging, and breakthroughs in this space have important downstream consequences for improved visual recognition." So what if the AI could, say, identify a gun? What if the AI could identify a threat, they could identify a person in need of help? I mean, there are so many ways this can go, but what if you just labeled, use the word libertarian and let it go all throughout your algorithms, and you used AI to comb through all the videos of anybody that's ever said the word libertarian, and then could quickly label them all domestic extremists, domestic terrorists, and then, you know, the AI decides these are threats to the algorithm and what was programmed for it to be contained within. So anytime AI gets more advanced, to me, is there's a positive side. You know, there's a positive side of this that you could use for, say, caring for people that need assistance in that aspect, to learn to recognize certain motions, certain distress signals, and trigger appropriate responses. But there's also I always, like Adam says, think about what would the government do with this technology and this power? And in my opinion, anything that makes Facebook algorithms and AI stronger is just continuing the war against libertarians and alternative voices that are going to call bullshit on the government. So, all right, NPR again is, man. Now I'm kind of seeing why Adam's like, get me off screen sometimes so I can blow my nose. Anyways, NPR.org has this article, Run the Oil Industry in Reverse, Fighting Climate Change by Farming Kelp. Oh, okay. So, when you're okay, just the article. Okay, I can see why even headlines are like, oh, where do I start? Farming kelp would be an extremely intensive labored process. And as you can see in the picture here, it says Adam and Captain Rob here of Running Tide Technologies in the Gulf of Maine. They release rope that entwined with early stage kelp, a fast growing seaweed that will soak up carbon dioxide. And I'm not against people taking the initiative to do something like this, to have the opportunity to say, hey, there's a different way we can go about doing this. But two men in a boat with some rope, is that the idea that's going to stop all of the problems in the world? Probably not. But is it good initiative? Is it something that we could look into a bigger opportunity for growth in helping to prevent issues that may spur from climate issues? Absolutely. So in a race to stall or even reverse global warming, new efforts are in the works to pull carbon dioxide out of the air and put it somewhere safe. One startup in Maine has a vision that is drawing attention from scientists and venture capitalists, like to bury massive amounts of seaweed at the bottom of the ocean, where it will lock away carbon for thousands of years. The company is called Running Tide Technologies and is prototyping the concept this winter. On a recent day in the Gulf of Maine, boat captain Rob Odlin says the task itself isn't much different from any other in his seafaring career, whether chasing tuna or harvesting lobster. He says, quote, we're just fishing for carbon now. And kelp's the net, he says. And I think that is, again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing to do. Would you put me on a boat to go do that? Probably not. But the fact that they have figured out a way to help pull carbon from the air and to store it back into the earth, where that is an interesting concept. And you think about the mass production of this, you think about the way that a private company can show its results. I think it would be an incredible technology to explore and to see if there are actually feasible ways to mass produce this. So, Rob B, innovate by adjusting to it. We are not causing global warming. We are polluting where we domicile. Yeah, that's about right there, Rob. It's about right there, Rob. And yes, I did say semen twice when I was speaking with semen to a semen. How many times can I say semen before it gets awkward? So, one story that I like talking about is anything that has to do with space and SpaceX. And in our tech block, we do have this article from CNN.com, CNN Business. SpaceX Mars prototype rocket nails landing for the first time, but explodes on pad. Yeah, sad story. Whenever something is related to testing and you see something exploding, you go, well, I kind of want to go to Mars, Mr. Musk, but the rockets need to be able to land safely in order for me to go, at least here on Earth. I'm telling you, I would be the first one if they said, CJ Abernathy, you're going to Mars. I'd be like, bye guys, love you all, peace and love, choose happiness. No, but at the end of it all, we got to see these developments, go where it's, not. I mean, look at the space shuttle, look at Challenger, look at Look at Endeavor. Look at all these problems that we knew with the space industry. As Jim's putting this lovely image on the screen that I'm just going to oogle over at here. Oh, this is the one where they stuck the landing. Wait, Nails Landing. I thought this was I think I read that. Oh, wait, I did not read that wrong. Okay, so, yeah, just minutes later, imagine being on that. And you're thinking, all right, we made it to Mars, and then boom. So yeah, I honestly think that there's a good intention to wanting to get off the planet. I mean, if you were stuck on the same planet as the United States government, you'd want to get off it too. Oh wait, we all are. So I think there's a growing need in the private industries to get us off this planet and to try to find ways to do it. So seeing something like this, it does land. It looks like it blows up after the fact, and the angle that it comes in at. If there's one question I would ask anybody at SpaceX is, why does it look like it's just gonna flat belly bottom land on the ground, and then all of a sudden you like cock it that way? I mean, it's just interesting to me how that goes. So yeah, I could see how getting into the visuals of this show for Adam would be like, yeah, you get stuck in watching all these cool videos. Maybe I should put on less videos on the screen. Adam wants to weigh in from the comments, taking his comment privileges on his show to the extreme today. If you were stuck on the same planet as the U.S. government, you'd try. Oh, that he's just quoting me. Oh, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I didn't see that last part there. Okay, so. Let's see. How many more in the tech block do we got? Jim will tell me. We got one more in the tech block, and then we'll go from there. I might actually make it through all these links today. I'm starting to feel a little optimistic. So, all right. Let's see here. Oh, back to Mars again from Good News Network.org. The inspiring and playful hidden message in the Mars Perseverance rover parachute. Oh, look at this picture Jim's got on screen. Make it full screen, Jim. Boom. Poof, full screen. Yeah, there we go. All right. So when computer nerds are placed in command of humanity's most ambitious scientific undertakings, there's going to be some fun involved. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, home of mission control for the Mars rovers Perseverance and Curiosity, take advantage of the brilliance of their staff and the fact that tens of millions of people tune in to watch their handiwork of landing craft on Mars, to sprinkle their missions with hidden puzzles and messages that need decoding. If only the IRS were so playful. In the video NASA's recently released of Perseverance deploying its parachute, director and mission lead Alan Chen announced that hidden within the strange white and orange shapes of the parachute canopy's underside, was a hidden message in binary code. He said, quote, "So we invite you all to give it a shot and show your work," with you all in this instance referring to the entire internet user base. Surprisingly, it took just 6 hours for people to decode the message hidden in the parachute, matching the variations in color to binary code before translating it to English letters and numbers. And as you can see here, Adam Stensler, I don't know if this is what it is. It looks like the internet has cracked the code in something like 6 hours. Oh, is there anything you can't do for those who just want to know? So it says, dare mighty things. Read the parachute, the motto of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, with the outermost ring of the parachute containing the GPS coordinates for their facility in California. So yeah, that's what happens when you have techie, nerds out there that just want to have a little fun, and you have an opportunity, you have a blank canvas, you want to spread a message. Why not? I mean, I'm sure that when we get to Mars, when I say we, when the human species is settling and colonizing Mars, someday this will be a souvenir in a museum on Mars, maybe. You never know. And yeah, Jim, go ahead and put that full screen too. I thought it was pretty cool. Somebody once said that on the internet that I saw, because everything you see on the internet is real, that this was just done over Arizona, and that you can see the flat Earth in the background. I'm not going to dive into that. Adam has a comment here that says, "Cool concept. Could have had better message. What would you have put there?" So yeah, use the comments and tell us what you would have put there, and be as descriptive as possible in what you would put and where and why, and we'll try to. Well, Adam will put it on the screen here. You can make roads without water, or you can't make roads without water. Is that true, Adam? Is that true? You can't make roads without water? I don't know. Let's go ahead and check in with producer Jim Freedom here, and let's get comment Adam Freedom Kokesh on screen here real quick, and let's just check in at least a little bit over halfway into the show and see what's going on. Oh God, trust the science. Oh, take your anal swab. Oh, you made me read anal swab on the air. Thank you for that one, Jim. You're muted. As a common producer problem is.
Why would you do that to me? I did it to myself. But why would you allow me to do that?
I guess Adam might be a little camera shy today, so he's just gonna stay in the back. Why the fuck do we want to go to Mars? Says Mr. Lock and Load 6. Again, I think I do have the quote of the year, so I'm just gonna go with that. Alien scientist. I would have built a sandcastle in moon dust. Steven says, I would have put drink more Ovaltine. Yeah.
Or Ovaltine.
Mark says, fuck Mars. All right. Good job, Mark. Just fuck the whole planet, to hell with it.
Fuck
why? Yeah. Just Mark's all not about that Mars life. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, in all honesty, I don't get why you'd have such an animosity to a whole planet. Oh, and Adam, there's my quote of the year right there, apparently. So yeah, I appreciate the shout out there. So, yeah, no, I think there's a lot in that tech block. The fact that we might, within our lifetime, see the starting of a civilization on Mars is incredible. The fact that we'll be able to talk to people on Mars someday. Think about it. Elon Musk has to figure out the communication with Mars, do you think they're going to have the internet on Mars? Obviously. So we're going to be able to communicate, at least on the internet, with people that are on a different planet. So, aliens, if I'm seeing anything, if I'm missing comments, Jim, let me know. I know you're not comment Jim Freedom today, but alien scientists would have been funny to write fuck Mars on the moon. Okay. I mean, I don't know why you guys have such big problems with celestial bodies today. It's just really weird.
Well, just think about it, though. If you did go to the moon, if you were one of those astronauts, why not do something, like pile a certain specific set of rocks in a really abnormal way, like something more than just your footprint. I guess they put the flag there, which is kind of cheesy too, but I would do something to the landscape to make it known that a human altered this celestial body.
I had a buddy of mine in the Marine Corps that once said, he used to like to draw dick pics on little dick monsters and porta shitters out in Iraq. And one time he said it, and it's just kind of after talking about all this stuff, he kind of bounces back. But if you would have drawn a dick in moon dust, it would be there forever. Like it would take thousands and billions of years. I don't even know. It would just like Neil Armstrong's footprint.
Assuming another life form or meteor or some other external event.
Right, absolutely. So if you were able to draw a dick monster on the moon, it would be there longer than you or anybody else. So, I mean, that's
saying. I mean, you yourself just pointed out how close we are to apparently colonizing Mars. So, how long do you think the moon is going to last before it starts getting?
I'm going to take Maria. I'm gonna take Maria's questions here real quick. Can you fucking space? Actually, there are several studies that have been conducted to see if humans can actually do the deed in space. And believe it or not, and yes, government funded, fucking in space, your tax dollars at work. They've come up with 2 people cannot, in zero gravity, without any assistance of any devices, have a intimate moment like that. Apparently it's too hard, but they've come up with they've come up with this like tube thing that you and your partner can tube yourself in together, kind of like a blanket, and then it'll like zip up, and that'll allow you to have enough at least forced momentum back and forth to make the actual motions of sex in space. Yes, if you're tuning into Adam versus the Man, we are talking about sex in space. You cannot click this show. Alien Scientist says there were 2 astronauts who had sex in space. Yes, that's what I'm saying. They figured out a way to do it. Your tax dollars at work. You have to be able to make yourselves essentially within your own environment to where you're not pulled apart from each other, and that your momentums don't bounce. Like, you can't bounce in space, unless you bounce yourself, I guess. I've never been, so, but hey, I would totally be interested in trying this out.
It would obviously be super duper ridiculously slow.
If the government wanted to send me up to space to see if it's possible, I think I would try it for science. Stephen McClure says NASA married the sex. Whoop. All right.
NASA married the sex swing and the fleshlight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And I mean, think about it. They have treadmills in space. You can tie down, and you can, go on a treadmill. I mean, you got to tie yourself. You got to anchor yourself in order to anchor yourself. Okay.
And I'm being purely hypothetical, like, the suit obviously is a thing, but purely hypothetically, if we could breathe in space and 2 people were floating around in space, that's what I'm picturing in my mind. If that's physically possible, and I don't see how it couldn't be.
Yeah, I don't.
It'd be slow and fragile, but it's possible.
Thomas says Astroglide, the official lube of the ISS. Absolutely. So, all right, Jim, I've still got exploration and understanding nature, and the understanding nature block is going to be my toughest one. So, because I don't understand anything when it comes to nature. So,
that's exploration.
Oh, is it our exploration? Yeah, sorry. Did I say something wrong?
4 links in it, and
I've said semen 8 times today, so of course I'd say exploration wrong.
The first link in the exploration you already covered in the last block.
Oh, I did. Wait,
yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Oh, I messed it up. Either way, I previewed the tech block. I thought, well, it would fit in the tech block too. I mean, kind of. You can talk about it again if you want to. You can bring it up. No, that's okay. Mark is, if he's leaving it on here, I'm going to assume Adam wants to read it. Mark Jason Walker, quote, "It would be hilarious if alien life forms saw a big dick on Mars." Yes, absolutely, Mark. It would be incredible to see a giant phallus on a foreign planet. Oh, I'm seeing more semen in the comments.
Covered the hidden messages one from exploration too. So you covered half of the exploration block already.
I just kept going, huh? Yeah. Oh, so I'm halfway through exploration. Oh.
Get through there. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's cover exploration together, the rest of exploration, and then you can do the understanding nature block, because that's the biggest block.
All right. And again, reminder to everybody watching. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate you. If you want to call in, we'll get comment Adam Freedom. Comment Freedom Adam. I don't know, Adam Freedom.
Putting the link up, so I'll
put the link out again. Yeah, either way, it's a team effort today. We're all bumbling through it today. So, new roles for everybody. At least you have production experience, and Adam's having fun with the comments. So, not a total disaster today. Let's see here. Okay, so hey, more on exploration. Let's get back to it then.
Yeah.
All righty. So, Last comment here before I get into the last few of exploration here. Because John Smith says, because that's what humans do. We run around and make totems to our genitals wherever we go. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, that's an excellent comment to continue exploring the exploration block of today's show. So from Ken's 5 CBS, is that the next one you got there, Jim? Kens5.com says 8 free seats up for grabs on SpaceX flight around the moon in 2023. This is incredible news. A Japanese entrepreneur has bought 8 seats on the planned first all-civilian flight around the moon, and he's holding a contest to pick the crew. Please pick me. Please pick me. No, that's not how it's gonna work. But at the end of the day, so be it. So the first all-civilian space flight around the moon is shooting for a 2023 launch, and Japanese entrepreneur oh gosh, don't make me say names today. Adam this gentleman wants to invite 8 people from around the world to come along, and he's paying for it. The mission, called Dear Moon, will be aboard a SpaceX rocket Starship that is still undergoing tests. The flight will take 10 to 12 people, including himself, saying, quote, "I'm inviting you to join me on this mission, 8 of you from around the world," as he posted a video on YouTube. The spacecraft will spend 3 days going to the moon, circle behind it, and 3 days to come back. It will not be landing, but SpaceX CEO Elon Musk said the craft will go further from Earth than any human has ever traveled. To me, that is where, as you're watching him explain this, we'll put this, obviously it's in the show notes, so go ahead and go to our Telegram chat, and you can see this link to this video here. But as you're watching this, is it a noble mission for him to give this experience to other people, to experience something that has never been done before? Absolutely. Is it extremely expensive? Absolutely. Will it be life-changing for those people? Absolutely. So, why is he inviting the public? To me, would you rather stick on, government officials? Would you rather, or would you rather have this be a very special way to show the public that this is going to be a wave of the future where, taking a trip to the moon will be as commonplace as taking a Uber to a movie theater or, any other normal mode of transportation. Eventually, the cost of this will get down to a point where, most people will be able to, go out to space eventually. And Jim, you can kind of throw me up here. Eventually, I believe that what's going to end up happening is, just like government transportation, we're going to have city buses, long commuter, trains, things like that are all government run. Eventually, I believe there's going to be no different than something to that effect, where space travel within itself is going to be as common as taking a taxi or going, for a long joyride. So this is an incredible way to explore and to see a hopeful future in going to places that humans have never been before. So I really will say this about Elon Musk. The man dreams big, and I respect him for it. So, all right. Next headline we've got MSN.com via BGR. Doomsday asteroid. Yes! It's the story I've been waiting for. Yes, Doomsday asteroid is headed towards Earth. Here's when you can see it with your telescope. And as you see this extremely scary CGI asteroid picture on your screen, it is This is the headline I've been waiting for. Let's see what our chances are. The most devastating event in Earth's history, other than the creation of government. As far as life is concerned, again, asteroid, government, all right, was the mass extinction that followed the impact of a colossal asteroid. That event is the reason dinosaurs aren't around today, and perhaps more importantly, why mammals had a chance to boom and why we're all here today. But now that we are here, it would be nice if we could avoid future asteroid calamities. And one of the most threatening space rocks in our neck of the stellar woods is known as I can't read today, 99942 Apophis. Yes, Apophis is a real asteroid out there. It is a large rocky body thought to be around 1,000 feet wide, and that's big enough that it would cause catastrophic damage if it were to strike our planet. On Friday, March 5th, Apophis is scheduled to make a close approach to Earth. Is that today? Well, guys, it was nice knowing you. On Friday, Apophis is scheduled to make a close approach on Earth, but the good news is that scientists have already determined that it won't hit us. So, if you guys saw the movie Greenland, that to me, look at how Jim is on it today. If you saw the movie Greenland, for me, that to me is how the government would respond. I don't think this is Greenland, but either way, it's trippy to watch. Greenland, the government's not going to tell you if it's going to hit. Oh, that's Deep Impact. The government's not going to tell you if that is going to actually hit. I firmly believe that if they knew that there was a asteroid, a comet, or any other celestial body that's going to crash into the Earth, they wouldn't tell the public. I honestly don't believe they would. I think they would lie all the way until we're all extinct and they're buried in their deep underground military bases with their storage of children. If you're Q, you're probably like, oh, yes, CJ's speaking that truth. Yeah. Anyways, no, I don't think the government would tell us the truth if they were actually, if it was actually going to hit. So yeah, disappointing that it's going to happen. It looks like it'll pass again someday. Future flybys. It looks like 2029 is the next big day. I'm not seeing a chance of hitting us. Normally, these things are usually, do you think the public, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But the government is not going to tell us if it's happening, but private citizens. And this is where, again, is it good news that the government and the churches control all the telescopes, all the major large, looking glasses out into the universe? Yeah, that's a problem. It will very likely have to be somebody private with a astronomical amount of evidence that would have to go up against government that would not want it to be out there. And there are lots of movies out there. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World is a great one to watch. That's one where the government tells everybody that it's coming. And if you wanted a movie where the government doesn't tell anybody what's going on, I'd suggest Greenland. So as far as exploration news goes, I'm going to stick with, this is why people want to get off this planet, that there's government and threats of asteroids. And at some point, there's going to be a time where either the government or an asteroid or a comet is going to take us off, take us all out. So, and when I say us, I'm assuming that myself will be around when this day happens, but who knows? We'll never know. And that looks like that finishes up our exploration block. So do we have any callers backstage, Jim? Anybody that wants to call in, wants to say hello today? I don't know if anybody has checked in with you or not while I was reading here. But let's see. We have one more block, and it's understanding nature. And like I said, am nature illiterate person. So we do have Mercedes. Okay, Mercedes wants to call in. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mercedes Damertowski. How are you doing this morning, Mercedes?
I was muted. I'm well. My daughter just threw her tricycle into the boat. And I'm out back with the dogs, Rooster and Nemesis, and we're just chilling. You know, it's not cold out. How are you?
Fumbling through a show that realizing this is why I am not the host of a daily 2-hour broadcast Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that goes 2 hours plus every single weekday. But I'm trying to do my best. At least I'm still alive. Everybody in the audience, as far as I'm aware, is still alive. So, we might actually have a chance of landing this thing on like a SpaceX rocket. Didn't mean to throw that joke in there. But, it's all well-intentioned, I'm sure.
You're doing fantastic. It's been
Adam's probably watching this show going, I'm ruined. My professional career's over. Thanks, CJ.
Oh, yeah, right. Whatever. You're doing beautifully and you know it. It's been going fantastic and smoothly. I mean, you got halfway through the tech block and you didn't even know it.
I mean, Adam, in his defense, labels this
Nemesis
out, but I skimmed it through and I thought I was still in the tech innovation. So either way, nobody died. Oh, look, we like animals on Adam vs. the Man for sure.
Yeah, Nemesis and Cora. Can you say hi to your fans? Nemesis is naughty. She's in heat right now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah.
Probably get that taken care of. So, what do you got going on since you haven't been running for Senate? What are you doing like these days? What are you doing? I mean, are you stirring the shit pot with government? Are you going down doing protests?
So I haven't actively been out protesting. I've helped organize a couple just behind the scenes in the capital of Nebraska, because that's where the issues are out here in the 3rd district of no man's land. Everybody's the same color, so there's not a lot of problems except for the meatpacking plants. But locally I'm still fighting for my chickens, because I could have a nice chicken coop right over here. Like, you see that as a perfect place for chickens, but I'm not allowed to have them. So there's a city council meeting on Tuesday, and I'm thinking about making a chicken suit and going.
Oh my gosh. Hey, real quick, Mercedes up. Never mind. Oh, geez. I guess Ray Ancap wants to know what your only
So I'm actually working on that this weekend, and I actually had a plan. Where are my dogs and my child? Oh, they're in the garage. So there's this one time that I'm remodeling my basement because it flooded. And so I'm going to be streaming the remodel on OnlyFans and whatever other platform I want to.
Okay, so OnlyFans is like, it's not just a person that wants to take off their clothes for money. It's, here, watch me do my remodel.
Where am I? Oh, there they are. Hey,
here. Hey, is there censorship on that? Because I've been told that you can't like stream certain things on OnlyFans.
Rooster, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we're stuck in this conversation. Flat Earthers are entertaining.
Okay. I gotta let you go. My dogs are
okay. Well, yeah, no problem.
And my toddler.
All right. Well, come on again
and
sometime.
I'm gonna lose you if I run after him.
Yeah, come on again sometime when you've got your OnlyFans up and running and you're doing your remodel.
Yeah, you heard all that, right?
Yep. So, lovely conversation today.
We'll find out. I don't know. Stalk me on social media.
There you go. Find her on all the social medias
before they steal my kids.
All right,
I gotta
Mercedes.
go take care of my kid. I'll see you guys later.
Later. All right. So checking in with Mercedes. Thanks for the lovely comments. Real quick, I wanted to go back to one real quick because I see you in the comments here as I clicked over. I knew you were up there for a while. Freedom Pilot, the pilot of freedom. Thousands of facts, science to support flat Earth, NASA proofs, gravity, the magic that does everything, Photoshop pictures of Earth, liars for astronauts using green screens and wired harnesses. Oh, it would not be Adam versus the man if we did not at least read that into the record with a follow-up that says, if flat Earth was so ridiculous, why is it so heavily censored on all major platforms? Well, again, you know, here on Adam versus the man, the old adage goes that there are flat Earth supporters all around the globe. And yeah, so all right. Well, again, I'll have time for one more caller. If anybody wants to call in, we'll put that link in the description of this video wherever you're watching it. And if you're already in the Producers Club, you know that that link is already there. And let's go through the hardest block that I'm going to have to go through. I kind of got that rise that the asteroid is coming, and now I have to go right into an understanding nature block, which is kind of making me go back to, I wish we could go back to the asteroid story. Anyways, all right, from the Atlantic, how female frogs tune out useless, noisy males. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I've just been this useless, noisy male all day, and here is this story about female frogs that just tune out useless, noisy males. They found love in noisy places. Yeah, there's a nice little lovely picture of some frogs here. Before frat parties, there were frog ponds, literal breeding grounds for some of the world's noisiest bachelors. These lusty pools are where amphibians gather to woo mates. And as any frog researcher will tell you, because they're all over the place, they're super, super, super loud, says Valentina Koros. I'm not the name guy. A biotinician. Man, I'm terrible with the words today. At the University of Trento in Italy, some spots host hundreds of males from a dozen species, each belting out serenades that can register at more than 100 decibels apiece, close to what you'd hear at a rock concert or rowdy nightclub. Some sounds this intense can cause hearing loss. The National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health recommends limiting exposure to such cacophony to less than 15 minutes a day. When scientists visit these ponds, they often don earplugs. It hurts our ears. So the understanding nature in this first story, there's a lot of horny toads out there that are just screaming for the chance to, you know, do what nature intended them to do and procreate and to have, you know, I mean, to be that loud though, I mean, it's understanding. Okay, I can understand it. All right, we're starting to understand nature now. All right, so that article was not an attack on human males. Okay, got it. All right, the next one from MSN via AccuWeather.com. Earthquake swarm in Iceland could hint at even bigger event. Okay, lovely. So if the asteroid won't get us, maybe the earthquakes will. Nearly constant earthquakes have plagued the main population center of Iceland in recent days, and officials warn this could be a sign of an imminent volcanic eruption. Iceland is no stranger to seismic activity, as the island has been formed by volcanic activity due to the North American and European tectonic plates moving away from each other. Iceland is home to volcanoes, geysers, hot springs, lava fields, and occasional earthquakes. However, the islands are experiencing unusual seismic activity with over 18,000 earthquakes occurring over the past week, according to the United States Geological Survey. A series of mostly small earthquakes earthquakes with identifiable main shock is considered a swarm and can be short-lived or continued for days, months, or years. So you can see they've got a lot of readings on here. There's a map that Jim has that you're seeing there. All the activity. I'm going to bet where and this is not my professional, like I'm a studier of volcanoes or anything, a volcanologist, but you can see there's a certain area there that I'm going to bet is not the safest of spots to be. There's lots of fancy pictures and graphs here. And so if you want to see all those fancy, if you're a volcanologist, today's show notes would be good for you. All right, next from MSN via Daily Mail, scientists detect signs of hidden innermost core inside our planet. I'm not going to speak too much to the reading of this, but I want to look at this graphic here. This is where the flat earthers are like, how do you know this is real? There's no way you can tell that what you're seeing here is real. This is what they tell you it is. And, I think that there's to say that they've discovered an inner core and then an innermost core and then an innermost core. I want to know what the singular center point does. I mean, is that just like this? Is it plasma? Who knows? We'll never truly be able to know what is at the bottom other than this giant magma ball. Magma ball that the crust of this Earth being so thin. How can you believe that at any point where volcanoes or earthquakes or anything like this could be catastrophic to our crust of our Earth? Is you're looking at this picture on here, it's a lot. This is certainly not to scale. It's cool to think what might be underneath all of this, but to me, as we're trying to understand nature today, this is how the magnetic field, the magnetism in our planet is, derived from. It's derived from the moving of magma and iron in our core of the Earth here. At least that's what the scientists say. So, is it an innermost core of the planet? Cool. Cool story. Not going to dive too much into what's beneath our feet today. Unless, of course, Adam's got a comment he wants to throw in. So I'm hearing people dinking my ears. Is there a caller, Jim? Anyways, let's see here. Next story in this understanding nature, we're going to understand some roosters on theguardian.com. Rooster fitted with blade for cockfighting kills its owner in India. Now, didn't we have a story similar to this on Adam Loves the Man, where a police officer tried to stop the cocks? They were just he was killed by a big cock, and so this is coming full circle here. Okay, bird with knife attached to leg to take on opponents inflicts fatal injury to man. Now I know this is a joke headline. The injury was sustained to the man's groin. Okay, so this cock stabbed a dude in the cock, and the dude died as a result of the cock stabbing his cock. How many times do I have to say cock and semen in a show today? Who knows? We're probably already censored. But let's go just a further paragraph into this. The bird had a knife attached to its leg to take on an opponent when it's inflicted serious injuries on a man's groin as it tried to escape. Officer said the man died from loss of blood before he could reach a hospital in the car. I don't know. I don't even know how to say this. Either way, man died by getting stabbed in the cock. I will. We're gonna. How do you understand this? I guess when you live by the cock, you die by the cock, and this man definitely died by the cock. So, let's see. All right, next story here from NBCnews.com. Sharks that glow in the dark. Scientists discover luminous deep sea predators off New Zealand. Okay, now this is some cool pictures right here, Jim. Among the three glowing sharks, the kite fin shark is now the largest known luminous underwater creature. I don't know if Jim's got any fancy pictures or videos. There's a video. No, that's not it. That's just a standard shark video. But look at this. Look at this shark. Now, is that shark ever gonna come up to the surface, or you can view it? No, but it'd be cool to see some underground video of what this shark does in illuminating its surroundings, and it probably draws prey to it, much like a electric eel, or what's the anglerfish? An anglerfish that does that. I can see I'm putting Adam to sleep in the comments today, for the comments today. All right, so let's see, how many more do I got here? We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. I still got 10 minutes, so at least. All right, goodnewsnetwork.org. Again, watch 2,200 cold stunned turtles being released by volunteers back into the Gulf. Just a really cool story here of some people that wanted to help the turtles. I mean, who doesn't love turtles? Hundreds of turtles are now returning to their home in the Gulf of Mexico after suffering a terrible ordeal during the recent winter storm in Texas, when the now famous and freakish cold front devastated Texas power grid. A local sea turtle rescue shelter, Sea Turtle Inc., lost power and wasn't able to keep the water at the normally balmy temperatures needed to ensure the turtle's health. That would have been the first concern, but then, as GNN reported, literally thousands of sea turtles around South Parade Island in the Gulf were being, quote, cold stunned, a term that described a comatose state brought on by falling water temperatures, sapping the life from the cold-blooded animals. The volunteers' rescue efforts from staff, community members, beachgoers, wardens, and even nearby SpaceX rocket engineers wound up bringing more than 5,000 turtles to makeshift hospitals managed by Sea Turtle Inc. staff. The infirm reptilians overflowed their property, and a rescue center was set up in a nearby convention center with turtles lined up nose to tail on sheets of tarpaulin, waiting for their turn in warm water. Kiddie pools, the only method to recovery available when the power was out. So just a great story of people helping animals. You know, if more people helped out more people like they help out these turtles, the world would be just a little bit better place. But I'm not knocking what they did in any way, shape, or form. I think that's an awesome cause to support. Betty Spaghetti says, well, yeah, duh. Even my first thought is turtle slide probably isn't a good idea. What? Now, am I missing something in the comments here? Am I? Okay. Anyways. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I'm back there. Okay. Now to the whole point of the title of today's show. All right. In a let me start off properly. Science Alert, sciencealert.com. In a monumentous discovery, scientists show Neanderthals could produce human-like speech. Our Neanderthal cousins had the capacity to both hear and produce the speech sounds of modern humans. A new study is found based on a detailed analysis and digital reconstruction of the structure of the bones in their skulls. The study settles one aspect of a decades-long debate over the linguistic capabilities, of Neanderthals. Rolf Quam of Binghamton University says, quote, "This is one of the most important studies I have been involved in during my career. The results are solid and clearly show the Neanderthals had the capacity to perceive and produce human speech. This is one of the very few current ongoing research lines relying on fossil evidence to study the evidence of language, a notoriously tricky subject in anthropology. The notion that Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalis, were much more primitive than modern humans, Homo sapiens, is outdated, and in recent years, a growing body of evidence demonstrates that they were much more intelligent than we once assumed. They developed technology, crafted tools, created art, and held funerals for their dead. Whether they actually spoke with each other, however, has remained a mystery. Their complex behaviors seem to suggest that they would have had to be able to communicate, but some scientists have contended that only modern humans have ever had the mental capacity for complex linguistic processes. Whether that is that's the case is ongoing to be being difficult to prove one way or another, but the first step would be to determine if Neanderthals could produce and perceive sounds in the optimal range for speech-based communications. And there's some fancy graphics on the screen if you're into these are the occupied bandwidths of modern humans, and then Neanderthals in gray and the Sima hominins in the red. So yeah, as you can see, they're just barely, it looks like they're just barely overlapping. So there might be a form of communication that they had that again, lost to time, lost to history. I would think that maybe grunts, ticks, claps, hand gestures, things that were more nonverbal communications, it would be most likely forms of communication. If you can point, you can communicate. If they can organize funerals, you guys, like, think about it. If unfortunately, we had to, bury Adam Kokesh, we couldn't talk, we could still dig hole. Like, we could use motions and we could talk. But again, there's a lot of this that we'll never know unless we invent the time traveling capabilities and go back and at least observe what had transpired. So good news for Neanderthals. They most likely could speak to each other. I mean, that's some pretty cutting edge stuff. 420 Pat Rock says, I carry the club, you make the sandwich. I keep imagining what Neanderthals would say. Yes. I would think it'd be grunts. Guttural grunts. Again, maybe I don't know. Maybe there was the Einstein of the group that they were was extremely smart and was speaking Shakespearean dialogue, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, I don't know. You never know. So I'm not gonna look at the comments because I just see them dupe. Can't keep up with it. So if anybody does want to call in, the show is winding down, and I still have a few to understand nature to go. So real quick, Los Angeles Times, Yahoo News. Whoa! What's happening? Horny toads are disappearing. Can they be saved? Well, we're saving turtles. There are massive amounts of amphibious orgy zones. And now the horny toad needs to be saved. I don't understand nature, but the legend goes something like this. In 1897, the good people of Eastland, Texas, put a time capsule in the cornerstone of the courthouse being built downtown. In went a Bible, some newspapers, and a bottle of whiskey, and a Texas horned lizard. The town grew, and by 1928, it needed a bigger courthouse. Did it really need a bigger courthouse? Did it? I mean, really? Did it really need a courthouse? I don't know. Well, anyways, that's a different topic for today. The old one was torn down, and a couple of thousand people watched as the marble cornerstone was pried open. To everyone's astonishment, the dusty critter buried 31 years earlier was still alive. What? They called him Old Rip after Rip Van Winkle. To this day, his taxidermied body lies in a state in wooden velvet case at the courthouse in Eastland, where there's an annual Rip's Ribs cook-off and Rip Fest parade. He's a pretty big deal. Okay, so we've got a whole town of people that gather around a dead toad to have a barbecue. Whatever brings your community together, folks. Whatever, you do it. But he was still alive. That's crazy. I guess hibernating. I don't know. Either way, I guess I will never understand the horny toad nature. Maybe I can go to Texas and figure it out. Who knows? All right. Next story. I've got a few more to go here. Might run a minute over. Who knows? If I don't have any callers, oh well. Space. Let's see. We've got Space Alert again. SpaceAlert.com recreated particles of Titan's haze could help us understand how life began on Earth. Beyond Earth, the general scientific consensus is that the best place to search for evidence of extraterrestrial life is Mars. However, it is by no means the only place, aside from the many extrasolar planets that have been designated as potentially habitable. There are plenty of other candidates right here in our solar system. These include the many icy satellites that are thought to have interior oceans that could harbor life. Among them is Titan, Saturn's largest moon, that has all kinds of organic chemistry taking place between its atmosphere and surface. For some time, scientists have suspected that the study of Titan's atmosphere could yield vital clues to the early stages of the evolution of life on Earth. Thanks to new research led by tech giant IBM, a team of researchers has managed to recreate atmospheric conditions on Titan in a laboratory. Their research is described in the paper titled Imagining Titan's Organic Haze at Atomic Scale, which recently appeared in the February 12th edition of Astrophysical Journal Letters. The research team, led by Dr. Fabian Schultz and Dr. Julian Maynard, and included many colleagues from IBM Research, the University of Paris, and the University of, I can't say all these, a lot of universities involved in this. One thing to me that's always been incredible when thinking about the chance of there being other forms of life that are not carbon-based and not to our current understanding of what we perceive as life and what may be out there. That's where articles like the early article of near-death experiences might be gateways, dimensions. There might be other things out there. So, again, to me, it's all just an interesting conglomerate of what ifs, maybes, and who knows. Do you know? Let's keep studying. Who knows? All right. So MSN, this is, let's see here. MSN.com, DW.com. Massive iceberg breaks off of Antarctica. An iceberg the size of Greater London came off the Antarctic ice shelf years after the first cracks formed. Scientists, however, are skeptical of the role of climate change in this case. So, yeah, just a really cool picture of what I'm assuming is Antarctica and not just like Alaska, and they just kind of, took it from something else. A giant iceberg larger than the size of most European cities has broken away from Antarctica. The iceberg, measuring 1,270 square kilometers or 490 square miles, came off the 150-meter thick Brunt ice shelf in a process called calving. Scientists have been expecting a huge chunk of ice to break away for almost a decade after the first vast cracks had formed. Our team at the BAS have been prepared for calving of an iceberg from Brunt ice shelf for years. The event leading up to the major split began accelerating in November last year. And Jim's got the video here, and there's some really cool graphics of where it actually broke off at. One of the things is as whether or not we like it, the planet that we live on has its processes, warming and cooling. And this is something that they were able to study years in advance to prepare for. And now we get to see what this giant 470 square mile iceberg gets to do in the ocean. Who knows? So Maria says we agree to no go to the light when we die. Oh, okay. I don't want to go to the light today, Maria. I'm not. It's a no-go for me today. I see Adam just put that. Oh, yeah, I'm refreshing here. There we go. All right. Let's see. How many do I got left, Jim? I got 1, 2 to go. Okay. From ScienceAlert.com, a cephalopod has passed a cognitive test designed for human children. And if you could just scroll up, Jim, and show this picture of this cephalopod. It's up top. It's in the, nope, up. It's at the very top of the screen for me. It's just, there you go. That's this lovely looking creature. How did this thing pass a test designed for children? A new test of a cephalopod smarts has reinforced how important it is for us humans to not underestimate animal intelligence. Cuttlefish have been put to a new version of the Marshmallow test, and the results appear to demonstrate that there are more going on in their strange little brains than we knew. Their ability to learn and adapt, the researcher said, could have evolved to give cuttlefish an edge and a cutthroat eat or be eaten marine world that they live in. The Marshmallow test, which I've done with my children before, and it's incredible to watch their little brains work, or the Stanford marshmallow experiment is pretty straightforward. A child is placed in a room with a marshmallow. They are told if they can manage not to eat the marshmallow for 15 minutes, they'll get a second marshmallow and be allowed to eat both. This ability to delay gratification demonstrates cognitive abilities such as future planning, and it was originally conducted to study how human cognition develops, especially at what age a human is smart enough to delay gratification if it means a better outcome. So, the marshmallow test, I did it with my two girls, and I said, all right, girls, you have this one big marshmallow, and if you don't eat it by the time I come back, you can have two. And we watched on my laptop camera to another laptop as we Skyped them, and we watched them just sit there and stare at the marshmallow. We said they couldn't touch it, but they did everything. But they touched the plate. They looked at the, and then it's a good test. If you have kids, nieces, nephews, you wanna put them through and see if they have the cognitive ability of a cuttlefish. It's a great test, and maybe you can help understand the nature of children as well as fish. I don't necessarily believe that all children or all fish will develop that instinctively right out the gate. I think that's a learned behavior of gratification. So a child that doesn't have a gratification reward system is most likely to just eat the marshmallow and assume that that's going to be the one marshmallow they get. They might as well enjoy it. So, but either way, if you do that study with your own kids and you're watching this later, use the comment section and tell us how it turned out for you. All right, Jim, last. Yeah, Betty Spaghetti's going to try that. Yep, this way. Yep, absolutely. Do it. Let us know how it turns out. It's fun to do just to see if your kid is in that cognitive ability to do. Last story from the Good News Network. We're going to talk about some kangaroos. Study shows wild kangaroos can intentionally communicate with humans. Okay, intentionally communicate with humans. And animals that have never been domesticated, such as kangaroos, can intentionally communicate with humans, says a new study, challenging the idea that such behavior is restricted to domesticated animals like dogs, horses, and goats. The research was done by the University of Roehampton and the University of Sydney, involving kangaroos, marsupials that were never domesticated at 3 locations across Australia. The findings revealed that these animals gazed at a human when trying to access food, which has been put in a closed box. The kangaroos use these long looks to communicate with the person instead of attempting to open the box themselves, a behavior that is usually expected for domesticated animals. 10 out of 11 kangaroos tested actively looked at the person who had put the food in a box to get it. This type of experiment is known as the unsolvable problem task. 9 of the 11 kangaroos additionally showed gaze alterations between the box and the person present, which is seen as a heightened form of communication. So really communicating with aliens, children, it really, in all honesty, it's just life. We're communicating with life. We're communicating with other forms, other species, whether it be kangaroo or Neanderthal. What we're seeing is that communication, it has been vital to all walks, all forms of life, and There's even in the study of the marshmallow test, you're communicating a reward gratification system. So even in a sense, communicating with fish. So I have hope in the future where if we do come across intelligent alien life, that as we recognize a kangaroo can make even minimal communication with a human, something that we believe you have to be domesticated for, that at least our species has more of a chance of, with a peaceful alien civilization, to communicate and potentially unlock more of nature's splendor. So I think that is the Understanding Nature block. Jim, do we have anybody backstage? Adam, any more comments that I got to read up on screen? I see Freedom Pilots talking about Project, what is the one with the fake alien invasion going on? Captain K says kangaroos don't exist. Those are clearly actors in suits held up by wires. I forgot to get past the CGI, Captain. I'm sorry. I didn't recognize it in the audio glitches that there was CGI, kangaroos. How could I dare? The birds aren't real. We're almost there, 420 Pat Rock. You know what we haven't done? I don't know if you know what? I'm the host of today's show, and I packed myself a little something for the closeout of this show that for all legal purposes is CBD flower from a local head shop here in Meth, Dakota. So I've been waiting. I think I got this. Oh, dang. Wait, hold on. I'm going to have to do it like this. There we go. Where's Jim at? Yeah. You ready? Here we go. I think I earned it.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
I think I earned that one. I'm 11 minutes over. UB Trolled says, I'm surprised CJ didn't talk about the AG running over a man today. Yeah, no, it wasn't in the headlines, but yeah, getting away with vehicular homicide still ongoing here in Meth, Dakota. We'll report it when there's something else to report. So, Adam, I hope I didn't get your show permanently canceled for today's broadcast. I hope you feel better. I know food poisoning is a pretty big issue.
No, it's a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it.
Adam's like, I think I'm just gonna find like guest hosts and just do comments all day.
Yeah.
It's like that was way.
I will learn how to take over the world by moderating comments eventually.
Well, I hope that in the role reversal that we did today, we've learned a lot about what each other's roles actually take. Because I learned real quick that I can't just itch my face all the time. And having things that put up on screen is a great way, I know, but it's a great way to, but I guess it's kind of more like I get to understand from the host perspective. And, how you do this, how you prepare for this. Adam, how much time did I have to prepare for this?
Well, I did the prep for you.
No, I mean, as far as getting to know the stories, know what's coming next, I just got to skim it. That's it. But
that's part of what's fun about Good News Friday. And one of the reasons I like it, or one of the things I like about it, is that I get to gather a lot of headlines without reading them, and then kind of as I'm presenting them, have a sense of awe and wonder that I want the audience to have. So they're like, while some of them I can't help but like get into when I see them, or they're from earlier in the week and we, hold them for Friday. But I just love being able to have a day of focusing on good news. And there were some things in the earlier part of the show that it was like I had a weird angle of like why this is good news in human optimization. And I was wondering if you would pick up on that, and you did awesome with it. But it's really for Friday shows. I mean, it's almost cooler if someone else preps. Like I would have if we had if I had an assistant prep the Friday show. If I could trust if I could program someone, if I could train them to collate the stories the way that I do, then I'd have no problem with it. But yeah, you jumped in and just did it with like I mean, we decided like 10, 20 minutes before the show.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't get a chance to look through all of it, but I mean, it was always like at some point, I think halfway through it, I kind of just was like, all right, I'm worried about what the next other thing. And then I think I kind of breezed through it. I'm not a public speaker, Adam. Like I can do my own show and ah and this, that, and the other and make these mistakes, but you know, I'm not at your level of hosting in that format. And I mean, it's really a speaks to your craft and how you dissect the news and how you tie one story to the next. And I think that's something that a lot of people would underappreciate in your preparation for the show, that you really do put a lot of thought and effort into how you flow segments in, how you, how you save a juicier headline for a more appropriate show versus cutting through the meat and potatoes. And yeah, I can see where you don't want to go through a mile-long list of story, you know, because you could spend an hour reading it. But, you know, to get into at least the understanding of what is the story trying to tell and how can I relate that to what I'm talking with my audience. And that's where, again, I really do think it's a disservice to, you know, not just, you know, the YouTube community or any other platform, but the censorship of this show. It's so ridiculous because we're not advocating for violence. We're not advocating for anything that's criminal in the sense that it's going to cause a victim. We're just trying to talk about what's happening in our world. And you can see that in when you're discussing headlines. I mean, if I was talking about more controversial headlines than horny toads and SpaceX rockets, I mean, I could see where, you know, they have a point to want to, you know, control that narrative, and anything outside of that narrative is a threat to them controlling the narrative. So I mean, this is the for me in the last year that's been the challenge is how do we break past the mainstream and have this show be a regularly watched broadcast by people that know we're challenging not only the omnipotent state, but the narrative that the government pushes. And you know, yeah, we could do little articles about horny toads and SpaceX rockets, but really, in all honesty, it's like conversations like I had with Steven today. We as a public should be having, and especially veterans should be having these kind of conversations so we can then better communicate with the outside world, you know, how we are, you know, coming to the opinions and formulating our conclusions the way we do. And I agree with you when I was talking with Steven, you know, there's a certain aspect of it to me that if you allow that kind of free speech between people and you can't control that narrative that's happening between them, things like we can say like, hey, we were, you know, involved in racketeering schemes. And we can say this freely, but it's not like Joe Biden or Donald Trump or any of these other major political leaders are going to go, hey, you know that Adam versus the Man show where they tell you we're all criminals and here's how we're doing it? Go watch them Monday through Friday. Like, we're not going to get sponsored by the mainstream commercial conglomerate. We're not going to get YouTube's partnership program because we're not just going to cave to, you know, repeat and regurgitate narrative media. I mean, you've dedicated your brand and turned it into a monolith of freedom and speech being that foundational cornerstone for it. And so the attack on that just, yes, I did name the kid sniffer. I said the name there, Freedom Pilot. I can see the comments right now. But, you know, to me, we're never going to break past the mainstream media when we ourselves are essentially, and again, I hate saying this about libertarianism, but we do shoot ourselves in the foot when we put up people that are, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they're militarist adjacent. They're like, all right, you can have your government a little bit. And in a result, those people within that party are going to be put up a little further. You know what I mean? Like, but to say that, like, I mean, think about it. Who was it? Like, we were talking about Milo and Alex Jones yesterday with the Joe Rogan segment, which, by the way, will be out here as soon as the show's over. It's done rendering. The segment yesterday, we were talking about how Alex Jones, Milo, even Ben Shapiro himself has identified with libertarian principles. The major, podcast, Dan Bongino, to my libertarian audience, like, to me, that the way they define libertarian, if you don't check all their libertarian boxes from statism, you're never going to be the one that is put at the top of the marquee. And so I think that's why it's important, and I'm the one hosting the show, so sorry if I'm talking for so long. But, this is why I think you're running for president, why you advocating the way you do and being as dedicated as you have been, is that libertarian formula to success, because you're not going away. You're not just going to say, okay, you shut me up. No, you're like, okay, you shut me down. I'm going to conventions. I'm going to LNC meetings. I'm going to party. I'm going to coalesce back, and I'm going to go. Yeah. And so I think you've set yourself up in a way for the future run for president where, yeah, you could very well see a nomination. And I think it's going to come at the hands of libertarians finally realizing that we're letting the statists define what libertarianism is and not libertarians. So we need to stop that. And I think the good news in all of this is that you are being a dedicated, active broadcaster. And I think that we have a clear opportunity. And with that being said, I did have a question that I was going to ask you live on the air, even if I was producing. But the South Dakota convention for 2021 is happening on March 20th. And we've been asked by hopefully the future chair of our state party if you would like to be a guest and have a 3 to 5 minute speaking spot. So you could kind of just look right into that camera and
virtually.
Yeah, you can virtually. Yeah.
That's
no,
easy.
We'll put you up on the.
Let me just check. What's the date? March 20?
Yeah, March 20th. Carol Ann Harlos is going to be. Excuse me. At the actually be our like kind of guest of honor, I guess, so to speak. Like I mean, we're not getting Joe Bishop Henchman or Ken Molman on unless they want to go digitally or show up themselves. But Karen has agreed to actually show up and to be like kind of like that key speaker there. But I think having you have I know you can talk for 5 minutes, Adam.
I have nothing but construction work on my agenda that day.
Okay, well, construction work and speaking to libertarians in South Dakota sounds like an excellent day for
Question. Can the South Dakota Libertarian Party not afford to fly Adam out there to be there personally?
Well, there's only like 8 of us that are going to show up in person.
Yeah, no, it's focus on having the good meeting of the minds with the circumstance we find ourselves.
Right,
I mean, yeah, Jim, you're right to ask, or at least to think, and I, but right now, like just being able to connect with people who are still organizing as the LP, I want to do everything possible. And actually, it would be a better event it would be better for me if they paid me a stipend as a speaker to come and fly and bring a +1 and have fun and do but what's the best thing for the South Dakota Libertarian Party is to say, Adam, in 2021, we want 5 minutes of your wisdom. Please join us.
And that's all I can ask for, Adam, on behalf of the executive committee that would like to hear you speak there. And I think that it's going to give you an opportunity to spread the message of freedom, talk about your campaign for president, maybe sway some people that weren't on Team Freedom before to maybe give you a second look. And, I'm running for communications director as of right now for the next XCOM. And so, yeah, they love that shirt, Jim. The internet loves that shirt. But So, I think that'd be a great opportunity for you, and I'll let them know that you've accepted. And it can be a pre-recorded thing, or it can be live. We haven't figured out the actual exact production. Most likely will be Zoom, put up on a big screen TV there, and you'll be able to speak to everybody there. So I think live would probably be better. And then maybe we could do like a Q&A after if anybody's got any questions for speakers,
Definitely live.
But anyways, other than that, it's my show. For today at least. Adam, you got anything else?
Bye.
Adam's like, nope, peace out. Okay. Well, that being said, this one's for Adam.
I'm out of here. Peace out.
Jim, let's get to the good news in today's history, shall we?
Well, that was the good news. You covered it.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see real quick. Skim here.
Well,
Elvis,
that's probably
U.S. Supreme Court. We got the 3-6 Mafia. Something about Fidel Castro. Okay. As the internet warlord, I will take one privilege on this year to end out the show. And that will be from goodnewsnetwork.org on this day in history. 51 years ago today, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty went into effect after ratification by 43 nations agreed to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. The goal was also to promote consideration in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy and to advance disarmament in general. It took 3 years for the treaty to be negotiated by the United Nations sponsored committee made up of 18 countries. Canada, France, Great Britain, Italy, the U.S., Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Romania, and the Soviet Union, Brazil, Burma, Ethiopia, India, Mexico, Nigeria, Sweden, and the United Arab Emirates. As of 2016, 191 countries have joined the treaty, with more nations embracing this treaty than any other arms limitation or disarmament agreement. A testament to the document's significance, but with a few exemptions. And on that note, you guys, I am pro recreational nuclear warheads. I am going to be that voice of being pro recreational nuclear warheads because I believe we need that voice. And the good news is that we will always have people that will support recreational nuclear warheads, and I hope you'll be one of those too. So with that being said, have a good day or don't. The choice is always yours.